Hello there and welcome back to Normal Guy Games. So I have been doing a lot of painting of gold trim. Yeah, so I'm quite sick of it and I decided that it's time to paint something a little bit different. Now just recently I got a box in that had it was the tier 2 or tier 3 pledge, the big pledge for Don't Look Back. Now I'm super excited to try Don't Look Back, and now that I have the box, I've decided to paint some of the miniatures, and let's have a look at it. So the first up is Ranger Sandy, but the Prom variant. So let's get to it. So of course we're going to start by doing the lowest area, and for this model the lowest area is the skin because it is below the dress, sort of in order that way. So I started off with a coat, actually two, of Bugman's Glow. Now I did go too thin, and here you can see the second coat. Once again, two thin coats. It always makes everything look smoother. Definitely worth the time to build up that color while keeping everything smooth. And the thing is, you don't have to water it down like crazy. You just have to make sure that the paint is thin and will spread properly and give you decent coverage over this black primer. This is just a traditional method. I'm not going to be doing any kind of slap chopping or anything fancy. I'm just going to throw some paint onto a model. It's been a while since I've done something so simple as just throw some paint on a model. All right, and I figured if I'm going to do it on any model, it's going to be Ranger Sandy with that saucy knee hanging out of that dress. Okay, that's just, the sculpt is amazing. I love it. So moving on, I took that Bugman's Glow and I mixed just a little bit of Cadian flesh into it. And I'm going to keep doing that as we progress. Each subsequent coat is going to have just a little bit more of the lighter color mixed into it, and I'm going to do a smaller and smaller area just to emphasize the areas on the skin where light would be hitting flesh. Okay, so we're going to be doing raised areas like, as you can see here, the nose, the cheeks, the forehead, her shoulders, the tops of her arms, anything where sunshine would hit. And what this is going to do is give us a progressively brighter skin tone as we move up on the raised areas of her flesh. Now, the next step, I took a little bit of Kislev flesh and I mixed that into my final mix of Cadian flesh tone and Bugman's Glow. And for the very, very last highlight, you can see me here where I'm just kind of dragging this brush gently over the very topmost raised areas. It is a little more of that Kislev flesh mixed together. And we're going to put some on that saucy knee. And this is just going to smooth everything out. Now, this step is completely optional. I wanted Ranger Sandy to look like she had just gotten some tanning done. Okay, and to do this, I'm pulling everything back after all those highlights and layers with Reichland Flesh Shade. Now again, this is completely optional. I could have left her where she was, but I feel like Ranger Sandy is a ranger and she'd be out in the sun a lot, so I kind of felt like at some point she would have gotten a bit of a tan. And the best way to do that is to color the flesh like you would and put a little bit of this Reichland Flesh Shade or any flesh shade over top of it. Just make sure you don't let any of it pool. Spread it over evenly. Get yourself a good, just one coat will do. Don't do two coats, and make sure it doesn't get in any areas where it shouldn't be. including the crevice of the saucy knee. So moving on, the next thing that I did here is I painted her dress. And for this, I'm using Pro Acryl's, or the Monument Hobby Pro Acryl Dark Jade that came out of the Vinci V set. I am increasingly in love with Pro Acryl, with the Monument Hobbies paints. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just the color, the pigmentation. I like the way it goes on the model, and again, I'm just doing 2 thin coats here. Now, as you can see here, this is me doing the straps. Okay, now for these, be very careful. I'm touching the strap just barely with the tip of the brush, just barely. I'm putting no pressure at all on it. Now, once that was done, I mixed a little bit of the white blue from that same Vinci V set, just a touch. You just need a little bit into the dark jade. Now, with this dark jade, I am going to do this probably one more time, and we'll see that here in just a second. Probably about it. I did do it one more time. My apologies. Now, moving on, I'm painting her hair red. Now, do I have an unhealthy obsession with redheads?
It's officially none of your damn business, ma'am.
Look, this has nothing to do with the fact that my wife was a redhead and kind of looks like Ranger Sandy when I met her. Anyway, moving on. So I kind of wish that I had painted the hair with a dark red, or maybe even a light red, like a Mephiston red, but I ended up having to use 2 separate orange colors here, and the first one did not cover well. The second one was too light, so again, I go back to Reikland Flesh Shade, because it is a kind of a warm red color. It matches the hair quite well. It darkens everything down. It's going to give you a little bit in the recesses to make it stand out. It fits perfectly here. Now, the next step is going to be putting something on the base. Obviously, I'm not going to leave it blank, so I did use Sterling Battlemire, and I'm using progressively darker browns here to paint up the just the tops, the top of the muddy areas, and this is Mornfang Brown that I'm using here. And as you can see, I'm getting it on the bottom of her dress as well, and that's by design. The next color I'm using is Scrag Brown, and again, I'm just doing a light coat on the very tips of these muddy areas and just a little bit on the very edge of her dress. Now, I, of course, also wanted to tuft everything, because a lot of the Don't Look Back stuff, it happens in towns and in forests and things like that. So, and also Ranger Sandy she's a ranger. So, I mean, she's going to be out in the mud and stuff like that. So I decided to put some green tufts on here. So just put as many as you like. I'm going to throw a few on there, and we'll see how that looks. Now for the last step, as you can see, I've tufted it. I'm going to throw a black paint on the base rim, the rim of the base. Yeah, that thing. Anyway, the process of painting this model has actually kind of refreshed me, and I am so glad that I did it, because I really needed something different. And this is different, and these sculpts are absolutely gorgeous, and I would like to thank Blacksite Studios for making this. And I bought it, they didn't provide it, I purchased it, but honestly, it's just a lovely sculpt, and she fits the role of femme fatale also, so she might actually get used for more than just Don't Look Back. Anyway, if you've enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.